Okay, there's two methods for estimating roots. One is Newton's method and the other is halving the interval. This just stands alone as an individual topic. It doesn't really relate to anything else. Okay, a root is where it cuts the x-axis. So if I know that if one side is positive and the other side is negative, it must cross through here. Therefore, it must be a root. So if I can do that, and then halve the boundaries that I'm doing it between each time, so halve B and A, so I would probably come in here and call it C, I'm going to get a better estimation for my root. It's probably easier if I do it for you, and then we'll come back to the steps. So, it says show P of X that equals 0 has a root between 0 and 1. Well, P of 0 is 3, 0 squared plus 4, 0 minus 2, so it's minus 2. P to the 1 is 3 plus 4 minus 2 is 5. X is between minus 2 and 5. Because there's a change in sign, I know that it cuts. If I halve it, I'm going to come into a half. So if I halve it, I'm going to come into a half. So P of a half is 3 to the half squared plus 4 to the half minus 2, which is 3/4, plus 2 minus 2, which is 3/4. So the root now lies between minus 2 and 3/4. Why have I got rid of the 5? Because 3/4 is still positive. It's still on the positive side. Once if I wanted to halve it again, I would go 1/4. I know that on a graph, 0, 1, it's come from negative up to positive. And I know that it's happened between a half and 0, because that's what I've said here. So if I go 1/4, I'll be able to see. So 3 times 1/4 squared plus 4 times 1/4 minus 2, and I'm going to have to use my calculator for that. 3 times 1 on 16, because that's 1/4 squared, plus 1 minus 2. It's minus 13 on 16, so I know there's a root between minus 13 on 16 and this should be P of X and 3/4, because they're the Y values. So I know that the X value is between 1/4 and a half. There's a root. Show that there's a root between 2 and 3. Show that it lies between that. So P of 2 is 2 cubed minus 3, 2 squared plus 3 times 2 minus 3, which is 8 minus 12s minus 4 plus 6 is 2, minus 3 is minus 1. P of 3, that's negative. I'd be thinking P of 3 had to be positive, or it hasn't worked, and that equals 6. Change of sign there. Therefore, root. If I halve it, I'm going to go to P to 2.5. Where do I get that? Halfway between 2 and 3. 2.5 cubed minus 3 times 2.5 plus 3 times 2.5 minus 3. Let's see what that gives me. Okay, that one's positive, so it replaces the old positive one. So I know that the root now lies between 2 and 2.5, so I want to go 2 1/4. 2 1/4 cubed minus 3, 2 times 1/4, 2 1/4 squared plus 3, 2 1/4 minus 3. And I'll put in the calculator. Okay, it's easier if I see in the graph. I got minus 0.1046. If I graph 2 as negative, because 2 is negative, and graph 3 as positive, I've also 2 1/2 is positive, it's here. So I want to go to 2 1/4, which is here, and I got it to be negative. So I wouldn't go 1/8. I don't want it here, I want it here. So what's halfway between 2 1/2 and 2 1/4? 2 3/4. And if it's positive, there's a root between there, which is what I've shown. That's what I've got to show. So it's actually easier to draw it out to show that it must pass there. So the final thing I have to do is say P of 2 3/4 and is equal to, I'm not going to sub it in, I'll find it out. It's actually 3/8 is halfway here, not 3/4, sorry, which is 2.375, and I get 0.5996, and because one is positive and one is negative, there is a root there somewhere.